What's going on, guys? Today we are doing a review of the Traxxas Xmaxx after 1 year of ownership. So because I've had the Traxxas Xmaxx now for a year, I thought I'd do a little bit of a review since I never got the chance to do it due to that. And yeah, so I thought I'd give you my honest opinions. Has it been worth it and has it lived up to the name? What are any problems? And hopefully give you guys some tips and tricks. So about a year ago, I ended up buying the Traxxas Xmaxx and it was one of the last ones in stock. Like I said, due to, can't say it on YouTube. And yeah, I found it after a whole night of Googling on Metro Hobbies and it was the last one that I could find. Also, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Straight out of the box, you will notice the absolute sheer size of the Traxxas Xmaxx. No, it's not the biggest RC car in the world, obviously, but it is still an absolute mammoth of an RC car. And it has to be probably the biggest go-to basher that you can buy. And I can say without a doubt, it has to be the best 1/5 scale RC basher on the market in terms of both durability and also price. Comparing it to something like a Lossy DBL XE or a Creighton 8S, the Xmaxx is definitely the cheaper option and definitely the most durable. Now, like all RC cars, you are eventually going to run into some problems. Okay, well, not just that, but my first encounter with any troubles with the Traxxas Xmaxx was actually a bearing, the rear hub bearing to be precise. But there's quite a simple solution to that, and that is to buy the RPM hub upgrade. It comes with both the bearing and the hub, and after about 9 months of using this hub and bearing, it has not broken yet. Definitely a worthwhile upgrade. But after ordering the Traxxas Xmaxx, I did hear of a few problems, like for instance, oh, the ESC will catch on fire. If you're gonna buy a Traxxas Xmaxx, you might wanna replace the ESC and the motor straight away. Luckily for me, I didn't have these problems and the ESC is definitely not up in smokes. I've still got the original motor and ESC in the Traxxas Xmaxx. However, the ESC did have problems and I believe it was because of an earlier batch. I don't know if it was just like a specific batch or if it was the 8S or if it was the 6S, but if anyone knows, you're more than welcome to leave a comment below. Okay, so the next one was the motor bearing. Unfortunately, I broke that after sending it off a massive hill. It come down, it landed, it was pretty much my fault, and then the Xmaxx just started to make weird noises. However, I didn't think it was a motor bearing, so I kept driving it, and yeah, it ended up wrecking my motor. So it was my fault. However, I do think that bearing should have definitely held up, as it was pretty well brand new. Now, I could have gotten a Traxxas warranty. However, I didn't really want to wait that long, so I ended up going and buying a brand new Traxxas motor. Okay, right now, this kind of sounds bad, but it's not, because these are pretty minor problems. If I'd caught onto the bearing earlier, I wouldn't have had that problem. I could have just replaced the bearing, and it would have been a very cheap fix. So they're pretty minor problems, and considering the durability and longevity you're going to get out of the Traxxas Xmaxx, it wasn't too bad. So one thing I love about the Traxxas Xmaxx is the relatively inexpensive replacement parts. Although I will be honest, the electronics, they are on the slightly more expensive side. However, the plastics are super cheap. Now that is in relation to the size of the Xmaxx. So obviously if you got a Slash or something, the Slash is probably gonna have cheaper parts than the Xmaxx. But if you compare it to something like the Armour Creighton, Creighton's chassis costs like nearly $100 to replace, whereas the Traxxas Xmaxx is only around $40. Okay, so I know the Traxxas Xmaxx is not the fastest RC car out of the box. However, if you consider its size, it's actually really fast. The Traxxas Xmaxx will do, I think, about 50 miles per hour out of the box with optional gearing. However, I have just got the stock gearing on here, so we're gonna test out to see how fast it goes, completely stock out of the box. And it's actually one of the reasons why I'm doing this video now, because I want to modify it heavily. I'm going to go with some hobby wing setup and gear it right up and see how fast we can get it. I'm not gonna be doing a speed build, but I really do want to put a lot more power into this now. After a year of using it, it is still really powerful, still really fun, but I want to go bigger and better. So the batteries aren't quite 100% full, but they'll be perfectly fine for what we're going to do. Speaking of batteries, guys, go get yourself some Z-Power 9000 milliamp hours. I'll have a link to that video up here. I did a review on it. These are just incredible. I've been using them heaps. They're well balanced. They're really, really cheap. I highly recommend them. Okay, GPS is on, track, start, let's get it. Full throttle. Stop, read. There we go, 39 miles an hour, 40 miles an hour out of the box, completely stock. 40 miles an hour might not seem fast here, but out here, It's awesome. Another thing I love about the Traxxas Xmaxx, and it really did take me for surprise, was actually the handling. For such a big RC car, it's actually really light, and it just takes all the terrain that you can throw at it. It handles really well. Those super beefy shocks just handle everything so well. It can turn really sharp without rolling over, unlike the little brother, the Traxxas Max, where you have to buy the wide max kit to make it more stable. The Traxxas Xmaxx does not have that problem. It just handles perfectly. So now let's talk about durability, the one thing I think nearly everyone cares about the most. So whether it's harsh terrain, massive jumps, skate parks, the Traxxas Xmaxx just takes it all. The only part I have managed to break due to bashing, besides the motor bearing, like you know, is actually only the arms. Yes, the bearings wore out, but it didn't break due to bashing. Like I said, I've only broke the arms. Oh, and of course, over time, the body has broken too. And man, can we just talk about the looks of the Traxxas Xmaxx? It is absolutely stunning and by far the best looking RC car on the market, in my opinion. Okay, so besides durability and looks, what else can it do really well? Okay, so due to its lightweight, it can actually drive on water really well. So throw on some paddle tires and you can just go skimming across a lake. In fact, my friend Mike Stallone, he actually broke the world record unofficially for the longest distance traveled on water using an RC car, and he used the Traxxas Xmaxx. If you want to find out what record he broke, I'll leave that video linked in the description. Shout out to Mike for allowing me to use this footage. I'm not saying you have to go out and break records, but it's just another thing the Xmaxx does so well. Even though it's so big, you'd think it'd just sink, but due to its speed and its lightweight, it just glides across the water. It also has really great third-party support. Traxxas is great to deal with. Parts availability is second to none, and I really love the customization options that it has. So for instance, you can buy a different color body, you can buy different color arms, you can really customize this thing, which really gives a great unique feeling to your RC car, and it makes it feel more like yours. So another problem that I've seen people were having was actually the steering servo going kind of weak after not using it for that long. However, maybe I was just one of the lucky ones, but this never actually happened to me. I did upgrade this servo to a much faster one, but that's only due to my taste. I actually started off racing RC cars, so I'm used to really fast servos, and so I just had to put one in it, because I will admit the servo in it is a little slow, but it does the job quite well. But for me, I needed something a little bit faster, so I swapped over to the Power HD. I believe it's the S35, and I'll leave a link in the description below if you do want to check out the technical specifications of that servo. So after about a full year of driving, I've only ever done one full rebuild. Now, of course, this will depend how much of an extreme basher you are. I like to think I'm in the middle of just a bit of a casual basher and as well as a pretty extreme basher. So I only need to do one rebuild, so I'm really impressed with that. So what have I replaced? I've replaced the body. I've changed it to a Ford Raptor body, which I just think looks stunning. Actually, if you want to check out the full rebuild video, I'll leave a link just here for you guys to check that out. I also replaced some of the plastics to give it a more of a fresh look, like for instance the underside, the bumpers and stuff like that, which made it come up looking brand new. I also replaced the rear bulkhead because I had stripped out one of the screws and it was quite cheap to replace, so I thought why not. Oh, and before, when I said I'd only broken arms, I realized now that I have also broken some diff gears. Now, I don't know how I broke the diff gears, whether it was from bashing, it probably was, but I haven't heard that being a regular problem, so hopefully that's not something that you guys encounter. And as mentioned, I also replaced the servo because I like fast servos. Again, guys, I'll leave that link just up here to that video if you want to check out the full rebuild video. So what I'm about to say may trigger some serious rage, so watch at your own volition. Here we go. So in my opinion, is the Xmaxx still king, and is it the best RC car that you can buy? And is it better than an Armour? In my opinion, yes. Now, it's not just how it performs, but it's also the price to performance ratio. It's not only cheaper to buy, it's also cheaper to replace parts, and you need next to no modification to make it an extreme basher. Unlike Armour that needs to still do a lot of work to actually make it a bash king. However, I will say Traxxas has been in the largest scale RC car game a lot longer than Armour has, so they've had time to work out their kinks and problems, and I'm sure it's only a matter of time before someone like Lossy, Armour, ends up taking the podium from Traxxas. But that's good for us guys, because competition means the consumer wins out in the end because we get more goodies to play with. And I am mainly just talking about bashing. Of course, there's better RC cars more suited for their purpose. Like for instance, a drift car is going to be better than the Xmaxx at drifting, and a short course truck is going to be better on a course. But honestly guys, if I could own one RC car out of my entire collection, the Traxxas Xmaxx has to be it. It really is just the best all-rounder, both in size, durability, price, everything. And for me, after 1 year of ownership, it has definitely lived up to its name, if not more. So if you are thinking about getting one, definitely go ahead and get one. I'll leave links in the description where you can pick them up. They're an awesome RC car, so if you are a bit hesitant, don't be, you will absolutely love it. And as always, guys, make sure to leave your counter arguments in the comments below, as I'm sure maybe some people may have been upset with this video and my opinion on it, but that's just the way it is, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out. Bye.